Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight panel series. My name is Dan O'Brien. I am a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. I'm joined with my business partner, Jody O'Brien, who will be facilitating most of the conversation today. I'll let her get into a little bit of intro and background here in a few minutes. But first off, I'm super excited to be sitting down having some conversation with fellow entrepreneurs and business owners here in the Austin market, having some amazing conversation on this crazy journey of business that many of us are on. So thank you to each of you for taking a little bit of time to be here with us today. Let's start with a little bit of background. I'll just kind of go in order on my screen, but let's take roughly 2-ish minutes to just kind of give us the overview of who you are, tell us a little bit about your business, and just kind of get us set up for the conversation that we'll have here today. Kate, you are first on my screen. Why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off with the introduction? Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Y'all, I'm Kate Ginsburg, founder and CEO of Queen of To Do. We're an in-home personal assistant home management company. A lot of people are like, but what does that actually mean? So we work with clients who are super busy. A lot of times they're business owners themselves, they're higher ups at companies who are just pressed to the max with stuff to do. Their evenings and weekends are going to chores, errands, household maintenance stuff. So we step in and we take care of all of those things. So it might be scheduling, it might be event planning, it might be party cleanup, dishes, laundry, anything and everything is pretty much fair game, with a couple of caveats there. But we essentially make life easier. We're kind of the fairy godmothers of the Austin community, where we'll go in, we'll make life better, and you get to come home and go, instead of past Kate didn't do the dishes this morning and now or the sheets. Like, there's nothing worse in the world than going to bed at night and like finding that past you has washed the sheets and they're still in the washing machine and you're exhausted now. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world. So we try to just sort of make households run smoothly, make sure that any kind of life stuff that comes up doesn't completely derail folks. We've been doing this 13 years now. January 11th was our 13-year anniversary. So that's an exciting milestone. And we're on the precipice of expansion into Houston and Dallas this year.
Amazing. And welcome. Thank you for being here. It's so excited to have you on the call. Elizabeth, I will hand it over to you next. 2 minutes, kind of tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Elizabeth Alegria. I am the CEO of Gramercy Specialty Clinics. We are an outpatient behavioral health care company, and we essentially provide counseling services to people of all ages. We essentially target a bilingual market. So our clients typically speak both English and Spanish, and our providers do as well. We've been in business for about 9.5 years. And I myself am a licensed psychotherapist. I obtained my graduate education at Columbia University. Both of my graduate degrees are from that institution. And I also completed a scaling program at Stanford University. But I love what I do. I love what my team and I do. But collectively, we essentially work to transform people's lives. We help them identify just lifestyle patterns or even mental health conditions that are just not working well, that are not leading to optimal life quality. So we work to promote higher quality living for all the people that entrust us with their care. We are currently in the process of expanding to 4 additional states beyond Texas. So it's a very busy but also very exciting time for us.
Beautiful. Excited to have you here. Thanks so much. Katie, I will hand it over to you next. Couple minutes, give us the context of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business.
Sure. I am, I guess now a serial entrepreneur officially. I have the Kim Group in Illinois, the Kim Group ATX in Texas, and just co-founded a restaurant hospitality group with my sister-in-law, Tkgatx Group. And so my passion, what I do, if you will, every single day is I help business owners realize their dreams. I grew up in a construction development real estate family and realized that I thought I never wanted to do it, went away to college, came back after many stints. Read that in the resume. That's longer than 2 minutes. But I realized that there was a gap between a lot of the services offered for small businesses and basically coaching them through those expansion, development, real estate, and actually business processes. Because a lot of times business owners don't know how to do a P&L. They don't know how to do strategic planning, and as well as within the space, if they're expanding to double their size or triple their size, a lot of times they think I just need that much more square foot, when in actuality, you just need to maximize what you have and then look for that growth. And so really we added the professional services of the Kim Group in 2015, and that's now become about 80 to 90% of what we do. We help businesses guide through that whole point from beginning to end, or we plug and play with their team. So I get to play every day.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. And Jackie, I will hand it over to you before we kind of wrap up the intros with Jody there. So Jackie, give us a couple minutes. Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Jackie Tkgatx. I manage a digital agency, a web agency called WEBii. We've been in business since 1996. So we've evolved with internet and all the things that come along with web presence. Majority of what we do is custom websites, so web design, web development, programming, custom applications. We do e-learning and e-commerce, things of that nature, and also the things that come around that, like website maintenance and keeping the website secure and operational. So it's been an interesting journey, and it's continuing with all these technology changes all the time. So yeah, it's been very interesting, and I love my team.
Beautiful. Love it. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. I am super excited about the diversity of industries and things like that. So we're going to make for some amazing conversation. Jody, why don't you I'll hand it over to you if you want to do just a bit of a background intro on yourself, kind of give some context, and then lead us into some fun conversations for our discussion today.
Sure. So, like I said, Jody O'Brien, I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach. My background has really been in nonprofits and working with nonprofits to help them grow and transition. And so a few years ago, I kind of got out of that world and joined the Action Coach, our firm, and have been excited to work with businesses and also still help the nonprofits understand that they're a business. So that's pretty much me. I really am this is just so cool because each one of you have been around for a while too, right? So you have a lot of knowledge that I think is going to be great, because you've made it past that, 3 to 5 year mark. So how about just kind of starting off, tell me a little bit about what role you're playing in your business right now, especially since a lot of you have experience, and what kind of hats you're wearing. Should we start? We'll start with Kate again, since she's first on my screen too.
Fantastic. So right now is kind of a transition point for me. Each year, the holidays are just absolutely bonkers for us. We've got a lot of extra tasks on our plate, holiday decor and tear down. I just finished my last house this weekend. So I'm working with a lot more clients than I usually do right now. Hopefully transitioning out of that fairly quickly. We've got some new hires that we're hoping make this next week or so. So right now I'm very client heavy, about 70% of my time. During normal parts of the year, outside of November to January, I typically try to keep my client hours to about 10 to 15% of my time, just making sure that I can still get in and help train new employees, do spot checks here and there, be a second set of hands for larger projects. But mostly I like to be more networking, community involvement, strategic business planning, that kind of thing. Really focused on the bigger picture for Queen of To Do. And like I said, right now I'm kind of in the weeds with large client projects, carrying a bit more of the client load than I prefer. But it's been enlightening. It reminded me of a lot of things that I've forgotten about client work, specifically how physically intensive it can be, and a good reminder to give my team some grace when they ask for a day off here and there because they're exhausted. Reminders that we need to encourage our team to prioritize their own self-care, including massages and things. We provide some funds for that each year when our team has really intense, physically intense projects. We make sure that they're taking care of themselves, and it's an excellent reminder for why we do that.
Love that. I love that. Jackie.
Yeah, sure. So there are always many hats and they do shift and change, right? These days, I spend most of my day to day doing kind of half business development, relationship building, which is honestly the part I love, and kind of consultative style proposals and things. And then the other half is like a senior project manager overseeing the project management and project coordination team. And I'll kind of echo a little bit about what Kate said, because we were very blessed with winning a lot of large projects in the last year, which we know we're lucky to have that kind of business, but it's created a little bit of backlog, and it's made my project management involvement and client facing involvement a lot higher in the last several months. So what we're hoping is that that will even out a little bit this year. And we're also looking at efficiency. So maybe I can step back and work a little bit more of my time on business relationship management.
Awesome. Katie. It's like Kate and Katie, I just realized.
Yeah, so I wear many hats, as I'm sure everybody around this round table has. And right now, usually at the beginning of the year, I'm working on the year-end evaluation for our clients for the other year, because we manage beginning to end. So a lot of it is closing out the books for all the businesses and the assets, the properties that we manage. So overseeing that. And one of the roles I always say at the beginning of the year is I reset my time blocking. So right now it is shifting my time block, which is huge for me to be able to set boundaries with the different hats I wear. So I'm in the process of firing myself from jobs I shouldn't be doing, and time blocking and making space for ones I should. So that's really my role this in January, but normally it would be more client facing. Kind of what Jackie was saying is I really love that business development side. I love to know why people started their business and where they want to take it and how we can help them. That's what drives me. That's what gives me my energy.
Awesome. And Elizabeth.
So I am completely involved 100% with the expansion efforts of my company. As I stated previously, we are currently expanding into 4 additional states beyond Texas. And we, interestingly enough, we were able to secure 3 pretty large contracts recently here in Texas. So we're in the process of juggling new work, juggling the work we currently have, and then planning and promoting the additional work that we're going to have. So my focus is 100% on expansion and working with our HR personnel to ensure that we are hiring the right people to continue with our scaling efforts. At this time, I don't have any client-facing time. There are different moments in the year where I have those opportunities, but typically the managers that are part of our structure, manage the client-facing activities. And so I'm currently involved with really communicating the look and the feel and the vision for the expansion. I'm sort of at the helm of communicating the why and the how, along with our CFO. He has very specific ideas of how things should go, and I think he really has been a great asset to our company, and specifically to the way that we're growing now. So right now I'm 100% involved with just the expansion capacities. We're currently working with a tech partner now that is developing an application, a mobile app, and also an electronic platform that our clients will be able to interface with their providers. And it's a unique platform because, again, it goes between English and Spanish, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm 100% there, and it's exciting, but it's also really exhausting. So I wanted to, kind of double back to something that was spoken about earlier, and that self-care is absolutely huge. So part of what I'm doing currently is just constantly communicating to my team the value of self-care and ensuring that everyone is taking care of themselves properly so that we can all be at our best as we work towards our initiatives.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, it's I would say that the next question really is going to tie into everything you all said about your team and the fact that you all are like seeing this vision, but you're has so much going on. And so how do you find the best way? And this is just like throw out there, speak whoever comes up first. How are you communicating with your team, and what do you think is the most effective way to let the team know where the vision is going?
We have actually, we use Discord just because it's a free communication platform for us. We actually have a running team chat, and we've got a couple of different channels in there, including pets, which I personally love. So we'll take pictures of our animals doing goofy things, you know, the dog's wearing sweaters right now since it's so chilly and all of that. We've got water cooler, which is memes and jokes and funny things that have happened during our day, just sort of the levity to our work. And then we have all users, which is where we make our important announcements. Hey, check in on this. We need you to fill out this form. We're currently working with our team to brainstorm ideas, because we know we're not going to have all the ideas that can better our business. So we're asking our team for those. We've got a form set up. Tell us your ideas for all of these different aspects of the business. What are we missing? What would make work better, more satisfying, more engaging for you? You know, what would feel good for you as far as benefits and hours worked and, you know, workload, drive time. Even, you know, are you working with clients that are really far away from you? How can we adjust that so that the client needs are being met, but you're not, you know, using more of your capacity and bandwidth than what you have to offer? And that's been really helpful to create. It was, so we really don't see our team in person at all. You know, I kind of interview people in person right off the bat, and then I may or may not see them again for weeks, if not a couple of months. So having that daily communication is really big for us.
I'll pop in on that. So I've had a distributed team around the world for a long time. And then I've got, you know, we've got some employees here in Austin with us as well. So we've found it really important to have kind of an online chat, constant feed going on where people can reach everybody and just share ideas. And we have a project management system that does the same. But what I've found is hopeful is just communicate. And everyone on our team and our clients know that our company culture is communication. So we just kind of constantly remind each other that communication is sort of the key to everything. And if we see that we're probably going to land a big project, or that there's a new, you know, an existing client that has something coming in that may change a procedure or impact the, you know, the workload of everyone at some point, I make sure that I at least advise and kind of ask questions to my direct reports. I've got a couple of direct reports that I talk to daily, and just make sure they're part of the voice and part of the conversation. Hey, this might be coming. What do you think? You know, do you think we'll be able to handle this? Who do you think is the best fit for this project? And just try to lean in with what their needs are and, you know, roadblocks that they see ahead. And then I think if we're all talking, it might open ideas. You know, I don't think the leadership has to be always top down. So that's been really valuable to be to team in that way.
Awesome.
Well, I'll chime in here. We have, you know, just different teams within the bigger team. And so when it comes to our administrative team, we essentially have a morning email that goes out to everybody with very specific tasks. And everybody has their own platforms that they work on. However, as they're going along the business day, if they are running into issues, concerns, questions, anything that's slowing their progress down, then they all kind of communicate on a chat and try to help each other out. And there's always a manager there to assist with whatever work-related tasks come up for the administrative team. Then we have the providers. They have a weekly meeting, a supervision meeting with their assigned clinical manager, and they meet and they talk about all kinds of things, quality of care being the more prominent component of their meetings. And then we have management teams weekly as well. Where are we with what projects? What's getting in the way of the progress? What's the next step? How quickly can we get there? What are the resources that we need to achieve those goals? And then we have bi-monthly meetings with our executive team. it's sort of an all hands on deck meeting that occurs, and we talk about more of the organizational, structural, financial designs. And again, we talk about progress, we talk about limits to progress, and how we can work those out collaboratively. So there's a lot of communication happening at different levels. And so it's just constant. I feel like the ball is always rolling, and the goal is to keep the ball rolling. So if the ball stops somewhere, the initiative then becomes, how do we get this ball unstuck, and how do we get it back to rolling status? That's where everyone wants to be. And the goal for us is never perfection, but it's always to ensure that we're making daily progress. So at the end of the day, all those emails come back from the folks on the administrative team, identifying their progress for the day, questions that they had as they're closing the business day that didn't go answered. We also have productivity reports that come in at the end of the week from the providers, identifying the number of sessions they had, the number of services. And then when we sit together with our management team, we look at all those productivity reports. And then when we sit together as a collective with the executive team, that's when we look at the bigger scope of work contracts that we have on the table. And we sort of develop timetables according to all of those projects. So again, there's just a lot of communication happening at all levels. And we really use the feedback that we get to continue building the design of the company and continue the direction of where we're going.
Awesome.
Kind of in line with that, I mean, communication is everything. And we use Teams, we use the channels within Teams to kind of prioritize the subject of the communication and the files. And then we also use Sling for some of our day-to-day employees in the restaurant and hospitality business. And we always do a recap. Our management team does a daily, what we call a daily stand-up call. And it's, what's the 3 things I'm working on today, and what are 3 things I need, or however many things that you need from somebody else. Because we found, especially in working in COVID, where we're all working remotely, you would have your task that you want to do that day, and then somebody has their task and they need your DNA and to finish theirs. And so then all of a sudden you lose your day, and I call those fire drills. So really the stand-up meeting kind of says like, hey, if you need something from me, I need to know you need it, because I also need to get my task done. And so it creates space for that team to say like, I need this, I'm going to have this coming down the pipeline. So we're all on the same page on that. And then we do have basically every other week what we call a lock-in meeting, and that really is to make sure our team is locked in place. And it's everybody prepares their slides and they prepare their content, and it's shared ahead of time. And it's not so much a read off the slides, it's we read the slides, what's the content behind the context, and how do we then brainstorm. And then we usually end every meeting with, how are we doing with each other this week? How are we communicating on a scale of 1 to 10? And if it's not a 10, why not? And what can we do to better our team and our client experience the next week?
Awesome. So I think just quickly too, is like kind of to give everybody context, how many employees do you all have? So they can kind of, as we're talking about it, they'd be like,
We've got a team of 11 right now.
awesome.
We have 20.
We have 38.
We have 5, and then we have 2 consultants.
Awesome. Awesome. So as you're doing this team and you're having the communication, and we're looking at, are you guys finding it difficult as you're growing, because you're all in growth mode, finding team members? And do you have any suggestions and any insight for those who maybe are having that retention problem, or having the, finding the right person for their team?
I would say I think that's a loaded question all the way around. But I don't know if I can speak for everybody.
I mean, if I can give some advice, hopefully this is helpful. I think if you're recruiting for the right fit, it starts with the job description. And we started writing ours differently many years ago, and it really became a more successful thing when we wrote it in a sense of these are the soft traits that we're looking for, and the soft skills and the personality and the culture fit that someone might have. And then here's the duties and why those might matter to you. And instead of the old way of writing them back in the newspaper days of like, just an outline of here's all the duties you're going to have to do that you really don't quite understand and can't imagine yourself quite doing them. And I felt like we got better candidates. And then, of course, now that there's so much remote work and tools, when we use tools like Indeed or Zoom or other things, we can do like pre-interviews that are a little more convenient to people. We can get a sense of each other first. And they can, it's good for the candidate too, so they can see if they want to continue and come in person for an interview. And we've just had a lot better luck that way.
Love it.
Well, I am in a high burnout industry due to the fact that it is mental health. And so one of the strategies that we've implemented that's really helped us with employee retention is that we collaboratively build a work schedule with the employee, whether it's a part-time employee or a full-time employee. And we also offer a contractor status. So we have some some providers that will say, you know, my schedule's going to be really wonky. I have all of these commitments happening, but I need to work. And so, based on a collaborative conversation, we may determine that a contractor position is best for them because they're able to make their hours, able to schedule their own clients, and they may not need as much support, so their caseloads may be smaller. Then, you know, via the interview, we may meet with a candidate who straight off the bat is saying, I'm going to need a salary, I'm going to need health benefits, I'm going to need a retirement plan with retirement contribution in place. And certainly we have those positions available. And in that collaborative conversation, we then are very transparent all the way through so that, you know, we really work to diminish misunderstandings, because it's misunderstandings that we have found lead to people leaving companies or lead to there being some, you know, unsatisfaction to the degree that people feel like the employment position becomes non-negotiable. And they leave. So to prevent that, we really try to be as transparent as possible from the very beginning throughout the entire employment period. And if folks are interested in full-time salaried positions, we let them know what the expectations are around those positions. And again, we communicate those expectations for part-time employees as well. So we feel like the interview process is key, because we're able to determine if it's going to be a mutual fit. So it's not just about, you know, is this company good for this applicant? It's also, the question also has to be asked, is this applicant a good fit for the company, for the culture that we have, the standards that we have, the clientele that we serve? So, you know, I feel like being as transparent as possible from day one regarding the capacities of the position, but also the limitations is really, really key for people. But again, we offer a very diversified employment model that allows people to choose what is best for them given the life chapter that they have. And there is some flexibility around it. For example, we have hired employees that start off with us full time, but then a year, 2 years into their employment period, they want to work less because they want to spend more time with their children, or there's some other personal event that occurs. At that time, they have options. They don't have to leave the company. They can switch to part-time. They can switch to contractor. They can be fully remote. They can work hybrid style if they want, 2 days in the office and the rest from home. And so we've found that, you know, being flexible with employees has also helped us with retention. So those are some of the strategies that we've implemented that have been helpful to us as we've continued to grow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think what you guys said is the flexibility. I think everybody's looking for that, like what fits with their life. And I think during COVID, we all got a taste of different aspects, a different lifestyle with our job and our profession and how to juggle everything. And some things we don't want to give up, and some things we definitely want to give up and change. And for us, it was really understanding, as Elizabeth said, like what do you need? Do you need remote? Do you need in office? Do you need a flex? Do you need both? And really making sure that they're a fit, also with the personality of the culture and the company, and having them know, like, hey, we don't always take ourselves so seriously in our office, and then to have fun. And then also, what do they need, and where can we meet them at?
One of the biggest challenges for us is honestly untraining some of the corporate office history that people have, because essentially we train our employees and we're always available remotely for questions and things, but we expect them to be good problem solvers. Like, I'm never mad if an employee makes a decision that I wouldn't make if the end result is a happy client. That being said, don't do something completely ridiculous, So, like, don't ask me permission every time you need to use the company credit card to order something for a client. Like, check with them and just move forward. Like, get your receipts in. That's all I care about. So they have a lot more flexibility. That one thing that we've run into is the new employees often just don't realize that, like, you don't necessarily need to let me know that you're gonna swap a shift for a client, but you have to let the client know. Like, we're not gonna take care of that for you. So making sure that they understand that this is higher levels of responsibility than you might have in sort of a typical corporate entry level position. And how to navigate those conversations, how to set boundaries with clients. We allow our employees to set those boundaries since we're working in people's homes. I don't do bugs. It's just something I am not willing to do for another human. So saying, hey, you've like, I will trap it under a cup for you, but that's the end of my involvement with the bug. And so being able to set that boundary comfortably with the client without feeling like I have to confront my fear or my, like, we want people to hold their space with clients, and trying to untrain that from somebody who has constantly been asked to sacrifice their values, their time, their own intuition to meet the company goals. Like, that's not our vibe. And that's something that a lot of employees have had a hard time getting past. And it requires more coaching than we ever anticipated. I don't come from a corporate background. Like, I've always just sort of done what I want to do with minimal supervision and input. But when we've got people that come from corporate environments, they're like, wait, I'm responsible for what now? And I'm like, yes, you're responsible for this communication with your client. Like, you're the one that sees them. You have the established relationship with them. I am happy to help negotiate or, like, navigate bigger issues. But little things, it's up to you, which is not something that everybody is capable of doing or necessarily wants to do. Some people just want to do their work and not have any kind of higher level decision making, and that's okay. But that's not a fit for us and our company. The other that we get a lot of is people see personal assistants in movies and think that that's what it's going to be like. And it's not going to be the, unclogging the garbage disposal or, like, doing the grunt work of cleaning up after some big shindig party. It's going to be officey admin stuff. And that's a very small portion of what we do. We've had a couple of hires that we've made, and like a week and a half in, they're like, this is like housewife stuff. And I'm like, it's basically what we're doing here. It's kind of the whole gig. And it doesn't matter how much we tell people, they've got in their heads what personal assistant work is. And once they're through training, they typically do just fine. But if they sort of start balking, a week, 10 days in, I'm like, oh, this is not going to last. So we've learned to cut our losses fairly quickly, and just move on to different candidates.
Awesome. So as you guys have all, go ahead.
Sorry, Dave. When you said, Caitlin, on the training program, a couple of years ago, I implemented a real estate training program because we would bring on new real estate agents that were like green beans. And I have a 13-week training program. And with their agency contract, I would say, and so it's a little intense, but it's very clear. And I like that because it's very clear each week what we want you to do. And there's homework, and the homework shouldn't take more than an hour or 2 hours a week. But part of their contract that we made them sign is, if you miss your homework 2 weeks in a row, you're out. Like, that's it. And it was very clear, and I liked it because I was like, I have high expectations of you because I know you're going to be the best version of yourself on this team. So I'm going to articulate exactly what it is. And we go over it with them before they sign it. They literally sign it. When you said that, it made me think about like, yeah, that I loved it. Now, it really makes people want to say, are you committing to this job? And this is what we're going to teach you. This is what you're going to learn, but you're also going to have to give us something. So it's not just a one-way street. And that, again, just instills the culture that we have where it's collaborative. We're hiring you for your mind. If I don't listen to you, I'm throwing away money. I mean, that's at the end of the day how I feel.
Love that. So as you've grown and the vision, and just looking at the time here, I'll ask like this question, and we kind of get into the what about a little bit more about your business and some rapid fire. But for you guys, as you've grown, because you all are at that point where you're like expanding and growing, is there certain marketing channels that you've used or certain things that you've done to get to where you're at that you feel would be a great thing to share?
We tried one of the things that we tried this past year, which my partner was very reluctant about, was conference booths, specifically women focused in a professional setting. So we're not doing little, craft fair type booths, and so it's a substantial financial commitment. Minimum $1,000 a booth plus whatever our giveaways are. We did 2 of those, October and November, and ended up closing a couple of clients from each, which within the first month of service offset the cost. And we also got such great exposure at those events. Like, let's be honest, very few people have heard of us. We're kind of one of those small businesses that, like, once you've heard of us, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And you tell your friends, but like until you've worked with us, it doesn't quite click. Which is a challenge for us. We offer such a wide range of services that people don't really know what category to stick us in their brains and their life. But when you get it, you really get it. And so being able to chat with hundreds of people all right in a row, kind of explain what we do, pull up pictures, have a slideshow going, and just get that kind of, I don't want to say stuck audience, but like, this is what they're there for. And setting up our marketing with our most successful social media type stuff to inform what we post and what we do at those events was really, really helpful. So we're planning to do that moving forward. Socials are the other thing, and then in-person networking events have also been really great for us. I'm an introvert by nature. And so the networking events, I always have to like mentally psych myself up for. But once I'm there, I love it. And then I need to nap for 14 hours afterwards to recover. But those have been our big ones. Really love the National Association of Women Business Owners. I'm involved with them. There's a Fiesta group here in Austin that's wonderful. Those are kind of our 2 networking channels that we do in person, and then yeah, the booth events were great for us this year.
Awesome.
Jump in, Jody. So we do practice what we preach, by the way. We nurture our website. We do search engine optimization for ourselves. And we treat ourselves as kind of a client. Like, we put ourselves on the board as a mini client, which I think is really important. But besides that, just network marketing, and that's both locally, like building relationships, networking events, associations, attending things, and it's primarily myself. That's the kind of thing I like to do, build relationships locally, but also outside of that with other agencies. So a huge channel for us for many years has been other like-minded companies, whether it's another development or marketing or branding agency, outsourcing or partnering with us. So that's probably about 1/3 of the work we get. And that's because we nurture those relationships and, form relationships with peers instead of being just threatened by them as competitors. We all become kind of friendly competitors. And then the other thing is event-based marketing. So like what Kate mentioned is, it does speak to me. We haven't necessarily paid for booths at conferences, but I do have an event at South by Southwest for several years. I do try to either sponsor or attend some smaller conferences in Austin. I think there's a ton of events. It's an overwhelming amount of events in Austin. But there's some good gems, and I really love the like Women Communicators of Austin, Austin Women in Technology. Like there's a lot of these nonprofit-based organizations that do great work, and just volunteering with them will get you in front of a lot of people. It's really pretty great.
Love that.
We have, as an organization, have really leveraged our professional networks. I know, me personally, I'm connected to a variety of networks that are both related to my profession and networks that are not directly related. But a lot of our marketing efforts have come through leveraging those networks. For example, I've was a panelist at South by Southwest. And that came through a connection in one of my networks. I was a speaker at a UN summit last month in New York City, and again, that invitation came through a connection in one of my networks. We will also be participating in the American Psychiatric Association conference this year, so we will also be investing in a booth and promoting our company and our initiatives that way. Another thing that's been really helpful for our company is to develop relationships with lenders. We've actually had a few banks that have offered to sponsor our booths at the different conferences that we've attended, just because they know what we do in the community. And they will typically reach out to say, hey, we have extra funding. Do you have any events that you would be comfortable in us funding, if you're willing to hang a little banner, for the bank. And so I know for without question, that has been a phenomenal resource for us as it relates to marketing, just because it feels differently when you're the one that's funding those initiatives versus having a lender that you've developed a relationship with that understands your organization and why you're doing what you're doing. And my experience has been that some of these lenders have kept us in mind. For example, we had a lender that reached out to me and asked if I wanted to participate in a booth at the Texas Women's Conference recently. And I said, sure. We weren't doing anything. And so we sent some staff out there, and it was a wonderful thing. So again, I think to the value of relationships that we have, both in the professional networks that we have, and then as it relates to the lenders that we work with. And we have found great success in marketing our organization and our initiatives through those constructs. They've been very fruitful.
Awesome.
I think a lot for me, it's a lot of ditto what everybody else said in terms of networks with CCIM, and I'm a member of CREW, Commercial Real Estate Women, and I need to get into NAMA. Thanks to Kate, you reminded me of that. And I went to a meeting, a great group. And social media is huge for us, especially on the development side, real estate. But the hard part for us as well, Kate, when you said as well, I get it, is that a lot of people don't understand everything we do, because we can take people from beginning to end on a project. So we are really have been focusing on like personal customer testimonies. So like the background image I have here is a bakery that we took a 1893-year-old building that was vacated and it was horrible, and transitioned it into a bakery and an event center. And what we did with those clients from beginning to end. And so really giving more of those customer testimonials and promoting our clients, even their businesses after they're done working with us. We love that. We kind of, I always say, like, we mate for life with our clients, because, we get invested with them. We really learn about them. And through this word I kind of made up of pollinated collisions is what I say I love having with people, is learning about how other people do things and what value they bring. I may not use it, but again, that pollen kind of comes in my brain. And then when I meet with somebody else or collide with somebody else, if you will, I may give them that pollen nugget and promote somebody else. And to me, it's just putting that energy out there. And it'll come back. It always does. We're very blessed in that matter. But really thinking like almost reverse deal flow, like, how do I make you better? So then, like, rising tide lifts all boats, and really focusing on that aspect of our business and getting more educational pieces out and getting more like how to work with us and what we do. That's really a focus for 2024. We're launching a podcast, which is interesting. First time. I know we're kind of late to the scene, but it's interesting. A lot of the stuff we deal with is also confidential, so it's a really hard part of what we can share where we're at on that journey with a client too. So most of that is a lot of social media and video marketing.
Awesome. So as we kind of wrap up, I'm gonna just ask y'all to just give one little snippet of what is the key to success for you?
Mm.
I'm going to have to say persistence. I mean, just in everything. Persistence in not letting other people rain on your parade when things get hard, not listening to wouldn't it be easier to just get a real job? My personal favorite there. And when it's time to rest. It's okay to persist in taking care of yourself too. Which is hard for folks. We're conditioned to just keep going and push through discomfort, no pain, no gain. And it's hard to unlearn, but just taking a day of, I'm not going to do anything today. I'm going to stay in bed too late. I'm going to have one too many cups of coffee. I'm going to eat nothing but cupcakes, and then I'm going to take a nap. That's okay. And that's also part of the personal care, personal development, is learning when to listen to your body, your mind, and your spirit, and take those breaks.
Mhm.
I would say I would definitely encourage people to take more risks and to not be afraid of being untraditional. Or, even if you are afraid, that's okay. Take the fear with you, take the leap. I often hear people give me different, permutations of reasons of why not to get into business, or why not to expand. There's always going to be reasons. But ultimately, I always tell folks, just take a leap. And if you don't know something, you'll learn it on the way down. And if you don't learn it on the way down, you end up smacking yourself on the concrete. You'll get up, but you won't get up the same. You'll get up with a lot of learning in place, and you go up and you take a leap again. And so I'm a big fan of taking calculated, studied risks, and making data driven decisions when possible. But that's not always possible. Sometimes you're going into a new market, or you're going into just a different space, and you don't have all the data yet. You don't have all of the pieces in place yet. But if you take a calculated risk, and you adopt the do it anyway mentality, you'll often be surprised to see what you'll learn along the way and what you'll find. So that would be the one thing that I would encourage folks, is just, take risks. It's okay.
I will lead again with communication, but also the fact that that's a two-way street, and it also means listening. I've had some good successes, some like feel good successes with clients who, came to us and were happy with us and we got along well, but it was because they were burned by a previous provider that just simply didn't listen to what they were asking for. And so that's why they ended up parting ways. And so just leaning in by listening for what is it they actually want and need, and ask more questions and get to know their business and get to know them. And then also make sure that there's transparency along the way for the client and for our team. And I think that ultimately leads to successful outcomes, even just progress, if it's like a long-term thing.
Yeah, some nuggets that I would give is kind of like what is success, right? And is Kate, when you were talking, it made me think of the crab story that I give every new entrepreneur that works with us. I basically will take them out for a beer and say, hey, you're starting a business. Let me tell you about the crab story, because it's going to happen. And really to give that high brain awareness to people that are going to tackle you. And it's the people that you think love you the most, a lot of times, where they don't mean to, but they're in their comfort zone. And it's really getting comfortable with being uncomfortable quick. And so the fact that almost like when you get comfortable, you get uncomfortable. Like, and that usually happens to me at the end of the year. Like, hey, we're wrapping up and we're good. And then it's just like, okay, what's next? What's next? And but taking time to celebrate the wins over the years and with your team, and really appreciating them and listening to where they want to go to. And that's usually at the end of the year. I always think of 3 to 5 words I want people to say about me and about the company when they think about it. And I get those from my team as well, and we discuss them all and kind of how that feeds into the next year. And so, as Jackie was saying, listening is the thing. If we pound it into our team, we do it every day, is listen, like truly shut up and listen to the people talking and what they're saying. Because a lot of times we think about how we're going to respond and how we're going to react to it, where we don't really listen. And that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to us as a team, because we're not getting those nuggets to be able to help them the best way we can. So that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, as we wrap up, I also want to just have you guys each give, again, the name of your business, how can people get a hold of you, where can they follow you, what kind of channels you have, and Tanner will be getting all of that and be sending it out and putting links in to the actual video. So
All right, I'm happy to start again. You can find us online at queenoftodo.com. That's QUENOFTODO.com. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at Queen of To Do, and you can connect with me personally as well, Kate Ginsburg, on all the same.
Katie Kim with the Kim Group ATX. You can find us online at tkgatx.com. Social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those good sites.
WEBii, our website is webii.net or webii.com. We'll take you to the same place. We should be on all the channels under WebII.net, and LinkedIn is also a nice place to follow me. Occasionally I'll say something interesting. Jacqueline Sinex on LinkedIn.
but you are muted. We had to, Elizabeth, you are muted. You got to say that one time today.
Sure. So my company is Gramercy Specialty Clinics, and you can find us at www.gramercyclinic.com, and you can certainly find us on all of the social media outlets and LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Well, this has been an amazing call, and I really appreciate your guys' time. And Tanner, I don't know if you have any special wrap-ups that you do at the end. I'll let you do your thing.
Awesome. Well, for the conversation, thank you all again for being here. It's generally been a pleasure to be able to sit here and listen to some amazing insights and things like that. So thank you.